when I was growing up, I always just like wanted money. I didn't even want things. I just wanted money. This is when I was like 12 years old, I think. I would go out on the golf course, pick up all of the used golf balls, every single one of them, and then I would sell them back to the people for 50 cents. Then I stepped into agency space and didn't make money for like the first 6 months, and then it just skyrocketed. That first 6 months, I didn't have Dylan. So it shows what it is. So for my content agency, my first client was on a 5K retainer.
What has been your best cash collected month to date?
It's been $17,000. I did a little bit of consulting work on top of it because I had 3 clients paying me 15K. To be honest, I'm definitely living my 20s the way I believe you're supposed to, but I'm doing it through the lens of the long term. I know what it takes, and right now I just want to be cash heavy and use that cash, throw it into other stuff.
Jordan, thanks very much for doing this, brother. I really, really appreciate it. How are things with you?
Things are good. It's a bit early in the morning, but I normally get up at this hour, so I'm ready to get started.
I think you're a bit of a coffee hound like me. I'm on my 3rd cup of coffee of the day already.
What I decided to do recently was 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and if I want another cup, it has to be in the afternoon. If I want a second one, it has to be in the afternoon. And normally what I do is 1 cup of black coffee, and then I bought a cappuccino or an espresso machine. So I do a cappuccino with some heavy whipping cream.
Yeah, we got on an espresso machine about 6 months ago, and it's literally like, oh my God. First of all, it costs a fortune, but second of all, it takes the coffee addiction up like a next level. But anyway, a coffee interview is for a different day. So give us a bit of a background on your story. I guess before we even get into SMMA, have you always been entrepreneurial? Have you tried other things before you get into SMMA? I know it's quite common. A lot of people try drop shipping and Amazon and things like that. So give us a bit of a background on you.
So I haven't tried anything in the online space. However, when I was growing up, I always just like wanted money. I didn't even want things. I just wanted money. And, the way I got money was, lucky enough, my dad owned and built a golf course. So what I used to do, and we live on it too, what I used to do is I used to go out at night or in the evenings whenever everyone was off the golf course. This is when I was like 12 years old, I think, or like 11 years old. I would go out on the golf course, pick up all of the used golf balls, every single one of them, and then I would sell them back to the people for 50 cents. And then I turned like 14 or something. I was like, all right, I can charge a lot more for these. These are actually pretty nice. So I upped my prices and I started like raking in like a few $1,000s every month. It was
collecting golf balls.
Yeah. And
I never knew that. I never knew you did that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So that was your first side hustle.
It was like it was my job for sure. And I went around to the other golf courses as well in my area with my friends, and we picked up the golf courses, and I'd pay them like a few $100. So
okay.
Definitely always been entrepreneurial. My dad is a lifelong entrepreneur, so I've like kind of stepped into his shoes a little bit, I would say. But I stopped that and I moved to the UK to play professional soccer. Then I got professional football for some of you. And then I played against Manchester City, which was pretty awesome. But I got injured. And then I started to look into ways to make money online because I was just sitting in my room, not doing anything. And I came across a few other things. I tried SaaS for about 3 months, and that SaaS was go high level reselling.
Yeah.
So unless you have like a big following already, it's really hard to make money on that, I believe. And then I stepped into agency space and didn't make money for like the first 6 months, and then it just skyrocketed. That first 6 months, I didn't have Dylan. So it shows what it is.
I hope you're enjoying this student interview so far, and if these results have got you pumped to scale your own agency, I've got something very special for you. Below this video, you'll see a link where you can book a call for my one-to-one mentorship program. Inside, I'm guaranteeing you your first 5 clients on your agency journey. I can do this because I've crafted systems and strategies that I know work after coaching hundreds of other agency owners in your position to 10, 20, and even 30K per month. I only coach 10 people per month as it's all one-to-one and super custom, so if this sounds of interest, click the link below and book a call. Now back to the interview. Yeah, no, it's actually flooding back to me now. I actually think you're probably one of my oldest students. I actually remember our very first call because that actually rang a bell. I remember you told me you were in the UK. Was it Leeds?
Yeah.
Yeah, Leeds. A pretty grim part of the UK in terms of weather and most things. No offense, anybody from Leeds who's watching this. But yeah, like I remember that first call we were on because yeah, there's not many people from, I guess it's usually the other way. If you're in a football scholarship, you go to the US. If you're kind of like in the UK and you're not going to go to the professional route. But I thought it was interesting
Yeah.
because not many people probably know this in the online space, but I have a massive background in football and I trialed over in England as well. So yeah, that's all flooding back to me. And definitely I remember, I think we actually met through Facebook. You're definitely probably one of my oldest
Yeah.
students. But anyway, before we get into the actual agency, the nuts and bolts, the niche, all that good stuff, why SMMA? What attracts you to SMMA, the agency model kind of initially, and what are your favorite aspects of it?
I would say my favorite aspects of it are the ability to not have to know media buying in order to make money. That's like a really big part because a lot of the media buyers that we work with have like years and years of experience. Some of them even have like marketing degrees, like full on bachelor's or master's in marketing. So it's a big thing for me to be able to own a business and hire the right people. And it just makes sense for me that the agency space was there because it's low entry to or it's a low barrier of entry. So anyone could own an agency and I happened to come across it and it was a good time. It was good timing because I had not a whole bunch of money. So it was pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite a cheap model to start when you compare it to other
Hmm.
things like Amazon FBA or ecom where you're holding huge amounts of stock and the fulfillment costs and things like that. Personally, and I was actually talking to Jackson, a friend of both of ours the other day about this, and we were kind of chatting about what we liked about SMMA. And in my opinion, probably something that people would ascertain as a disadvantage, I actually think is a huge advantage of SMMA. Like to grow an agency to, you can maybe fluke one or two clients, but to actually grow a significant agency to a good level, you have to be good at sales, you have to be good at outreach, you have to be good at service delivery, you have to be good at, so many different things. And that would put people off. But to
Yep.
me, you are crafting so many skills that you're going to be able to leverage for the rest of your life, whether you stay in the agency space, whether you go on to, I know dip your feet into acquisitions and software and things like that. You're crafting so many lifelong skills that you can leverage in the agency model. And I think it's super, super valuable. And the other thing is, you know, really, it's our job to make people money. So we're getting
Yeah.
paid to change other people's lives, change other people's businesses, to make other people money. So it's a complete win-win. And that's why I think it's better than things like drop shipping or trading or whatever. These kind of surface level businesses that are flash in the pan that you can maybe get lucky on the algorithm with. I think the agency model, you have to really, really sharpen your axe, sharpen your skill set in order to reach a certain level. And I think that disqualifies a lot of people immediately.
Yeah.
But it means that it's really fulfilling when you get there. I don't know if you agree with that or whether I'm just rambling, but that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah. And one thing to add on that is a lot of people get into the agency space and they're like, okay, I'm going to sign a client in a month. It's possible, but it's very, very difficult because you have to have all those skills dialed in and keeping them on board is really hard. And unless you have like a very good service provider. But I think a lot of gurus out there, like, here's how you can sign your first client without ever knowing about what SMMA is. And you just have to do this and things like that. There's a lot more that goes into it, in my opinion, like the sales, the service delivery, the client and like manager relationship. There's a lot of things that go into it that a lot of people don't see until they're in it and they're like, wow, I actually have no idea what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
being in the agency space for a couple of years is helps a lot, obviously, but it's just worth no, letting people know that it's a little bit harder than people think.
Yeah, no, for sure. Which actually is a good segue into my next question. I guess when you take yourself back to at the start, let's say those first 6 months, I guess when you were struggling to land your first couple of clients, what do you think specifically was holding you back?
Well, I would say it's just knowing what to say and objection handling mostly. Like I was cold calling like probably 100 people a day or something like that. Probably should have been doing more, like 200, 300, something like that. But I think it's more of like knowing what to say and
Yeah.
saying the right things help a lot. I've gotten on cold calls and people are like, "Fuck off, man. Don't call me back ever again." And I've been on sales calls where they're like the same thing. And then I've had clients drop out because because Facebook did their little thing where they charge you like $10 to make sure you have the money in your account. A lot of things went wrong, but a lot of things went right. So,
Yeah, well, you got to learn forward. You got to feel forward. And
yep,
I think the best way of doing that is by getting out there and getting experience. Because
yep,
if you don't get out there and get your feet wet, you can do all the theory, you can do all the courses, you can learn all the information in the world. But if you don't get out there and get firsthand experience, you're not really going to go very far. And I think that's a huge actual issue. That's actually a good point. In SMMA, people get analysis paralysis and they do all the courses and they do all the information and resources and frameworks and trainings and blueprints, but there is no substitute for getting out there, getting hit hard with rejection,
yep,
learning the hard way, having a nasty cold call, having a nasty sales call. Because with that, you learn so many things. You learn, what to say in certain instances. It grows your confidence. You learn what a good and bad client is. You learn all these things that just you will never learn if all you worry about is theory. And I think that's actually a very, very good point and probably a huge issue in SMMA with why people can't land their first 3 to 5 clients.
yeah. I think I watched that Iman Gaji video about owning an agency, and it's like that hour-long video. It's his most popular video, and then within like 3 days, I was calling my first person.
Yeah,
So,
move
it,
fast.
yeah, I like to move fast because I could die tomorrow or today. Someone could have
100%.
laced fucking coffee. So,
So let's talk a little bit about your niche. So you're actually running a content agency right now, which I think is one of the best niches to run in this day and age. I actually created a YouTube video this week talking about, niches for 2025, and content agencies were probably 80% of it.
yeah,
With the emergence of TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, content, like realistically, if you're not growing a personal brand, if you're not putting out content nowadays, you're going to get steamrolled by anyone who isn't.
yep.
Are you going to get steamrolled by anyone who is? So tell us a little bit about your niche and tell us a little bit about why you went for content.
So I went for content, particularly because I know a shitload about Instagram. I've been an Instagram coach for the last 10 months. It's October now. So I know what it takes to grow on Instagram, and I realized that agencies, SMMAs, SaaS companies, e-commerce, drop shipping, the one thing that they all have in common is that they all need content. So and coaching businesses, which are just on the rise again, going into 2025, every single one of those businesses needs content, and I want to be the person to provide that content for them. I think it's nearsighted of me personally or of me personally not to go into content because I have so much information in my head about Instagram. So if I can leverage that information about Instagram that into a little bit of coaching and more so content, then things are going to work out really well for me.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think content is only going to get bigger and people are really, really now starting to value content and seeing how powerful it is to have a personal brand.
Well,
And like I'm a
I
perfect example. I wish I started my personal brand 5 years ago. I
yeah,
was very late to the party and God knows how much money it's cost me.
I believe that people are becoming pickier about the quality of content they watch. So you can't put out like a shitty 45-second talking head that has no visuals or anything like that. People are just going to swipe on you. It's really
Mhm.
important to have engaging content because people are pickier than ever about the quality of the stuff they watch. They're not like not getting on Instagram anymore. The algorithm's not working against you. It's just Instagram, or it's just consumers are much pickier about the stuff they watch.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I think TikTok played into that, and it's just ever evolving. I noticed that myself. Like even watching other SMMA coaches on YouTube, even watching other like make money online coaches on YouTube, like the level is just constantly going up and up and it's being super competitive, which means agency owners like you are going to make a lot of money. So
Yep.
that's the good side of that. Okay, so let's get to the juicy stuff. Everybody's wanting to know the numbers, the first client, the retainers, how much you made. So tell me about that first client, what the retainer was, and how it felt when that money hit your bank account.
So for my content agency, my first client was on a 5K retainer. I decided that I don't want to work for less than 5K, especially for doing 3 videos per day, because that is a lot of work for both my strategist and my editor. And it's a lot of work for me too because I have to coach them the whole time. So I decided I'm not going to work for less than 5K per month. And to be honest, money is not like the biggest thing for me anymore. And I don't know if it ever will be because I decided that all of the money that I make, I just want to reinvest into something else. So obviously I'm going to have some left over for living expenses and, increasing my life a little bit, right? But a lot of the reason why I started working in business is because I just want to play the game of business. So right now, a lot of the money that I'm making for my content agency is going straight into my software company.
Love it, love it. So almost like an ascendancy model through different business models. I know you talked a little bit about acquisitions as well. So it's not so much about making your profits or making your millions now. It's more about reinvesting and just, I guess, mastering the game of business from your perspective.
Well, of course, I'd like to make millions. I'd love to drive the G wagons and things like that. But I'm 20 years old. Like, I don't need to be doing that like right now. I can
Yeah,
be doing that when I'm in my 30s or something like that. Because if you have 10 years of hard in your 20s, your 40 years of easy are going to be from 30 to 70. So
100%.
there's a give and take. And right now, I just want to be cash heavy and use that cash, throw it into other stuff.
100%. No, I completely agree. And I actually seen a good Hermosi video on this the other day, and I was like, because I'm 27 now, which is absolutely insane. I don't know where the last 7 years have gone. Like, I'm not even joking. It's actually scary. I'm like arm's length away from 30, which makes me feel a bit sick. But
Yeah.
I've spent my 20s grinding and grafting, and I seen a Hermosi video the other day, and his quote was, I spent my 20s wanting to be a millionaire. And
hmm
then
I
I
spent my
spent my
30s wanting to be in my
30s wanting to
20s.
be in my 20s. And I was like, no. I was like, no, I've done it wrong. But the way I look at it, you hit the nail on the head there perfectly. You know, the time we're putting in now, and of course there's sacrifice, and we'll get a little bit into that deeper in a minute, but there's going to be sacrifice in your 20s, you know, when your friends are drinking, partying, whatever, and you're at home working on your business, working on yourself, but it's front loaded. Like your future self, your 30-year-old self, your 40-year-old self, your 50-year-old self will thank you for the work you're putting in now. And
Yeah.
now is the time to do it. Like in your 20s, you're young, you've got no responsibilities, you know, you've got energy, you've got time. Now's the time to do it. Now's the time to put in the hours and get it done. So yeah, I completely agree. Your future self is 100% going to thank you for that.
I would say though, I'm not missing out on those opportunities to go out with my friends and have a couple drinks and things like that. Next, in 2 weeks, we're going on a 200-mile bike ride. So I'm definitely living my 20s the way I believe you're supposed to, but I'm doing it through the lens of the long term.
Well, that's the beauty of the agency model as well. You know, once you get it to a certain
Exactly.
level, you can systemize it and you can outsource and you can have that freedom. You can have the financial freedom, the time freedom, and location freedom. Like that is
Yeah,
100% the
I'm
opportunity
taking
there.
I'm taking half the week off. So
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm taking half the week off and things are going to be fine.
The issue is though, people think on day one, like they're gonna, you know, join a program or start an
Yeah.
agency, they wake up the next day and those three, you know, financial freedom, location freedom, time freedom are just gonna be in their lap. But
Yeah, they're
obviously,
like,
you know,
"Oh,
you gotta,
I'm gonna work 4 days a week, 5 hours a day." No, you gotta
yeah,
work
you gotta put
seven
in
days a
like
week, 10 hours a day.
I would say minimum probably 12 months of absolute deep, like monk mode, like real deep
Yep.
work in order to get yourself to a certain level, get some cash in, learn what it is to do the work. Because if you don't know what it is to do the work, how are you going to police or manage someone to do the work for you? You're
I
going to have no
actually
standard.
I actually remember I was talking to you about that and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna hire a VA to handle some outreach." And you're like, "Do you know how to do it yourself first?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've sent out like 100 messages or something like that."
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no,
and you
it's
were like, "That
very,
is just not enough."
yeah, no, it's just, I guess it's part of the industry. Like people make it out to be so easy. And I've been guilty of this myself, like making it out to be a lot easier than it is. But you very much you have to put in the work yourself because you won't be able to
Exactly.
manage someone. You can try, but you won't be able to manage them effectively if you don't know how to do it yourself. But I mean, if I was to say to you, you're going to put in 12 months of hard graft, and at the end of those 12 months, you're going to be earning 10K per month. I mean, like, who the hell would not take that offer? That's CEOs work their entire lives to get to that. Like I'm telling you, a year of hard work and you can get there. And then it's exponential from there. Once you get to 10, getting to 20, 30, 40, 50 is just way quicker and
Yeah.
exponential, as I say. So
What I hate
that's just
seeing
it.
though, what I hate seeing those business owners drop out before that mark.
Yeah,
And I've seen it with my own coaching clients that they're like, Jordan, I'm not feeling too good about this. And it's like a constant, Jordan, I'm not feeling too good about this. Jordan, I'm not feeling too good about this for like 2 months. And I'm like, guys, you have to trust the process because if you're if you're not 100% bought in, then your subconscious self is just going to stack your limiting beliefs up. So
100%. And that's
you
where
have to
accountability
be,
comes in, having
yeah,
someone there on your shoulder too. Because I, to this day, struggle with this. Entrepreneurship is a very lonely road. And like, we're both sitting at our desks, we're going to do whatever we're going to do today, film some content, jump on coaching calls, have some meetings. There's no one standing over us making us do that. Like,
yep,
there is literally no one standing over you making you do that work. You have to be very self-driven, you have to be very self-motivated, and it's lonely. So if you can tap into a community of like-minded people on the same journey that are going to support you in the bad moments and, celebrate the good moments and everything that comes with running your own agency, that's one of the most important things you can do for your agency. Even something as simple as having a conversation and saying, look, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Like, you're not going to get your millions in the first 3 to 6 months.
yeah,
Stick with it, keep pushing. And as I say, it's exponential. Once you put in the work to get those first 5 to 10 clients, it's exponential from there.
yeah. I kind of want to do a sidebar off of that and kind of change the conversation a little bit on my end and say, I had a psychedelic trip. Uh,
Okay.
I had a
Okay.
psychedelic trip during the summertime this year, and it allowed me to kind of separate my mind from body. For like, I was probably in this cycle for about a month and a half. And what I realized is because I am an absolute workaholic. I'm a self-diagnosed workaholic. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, the only thing that I really love to do is work out really hard and work really hard.
Mhm.
And
Love
what
it.
I was able to do is separate my mind from body. And when I'm working out hard, for example, I my body's like, Jordan, I don't want to do this anymore. And I have really been able to just override my body and be like, all right, no, we're still doing this and we're going to work out harder. Been able to sidestep it also into sitting at my desk and working on my computer. I'm like, Jordan, I don't want to be doing this anymore. I want to open up Instagram and scroll for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And so my mind's able to override it, or my consciousness is able to override it, which just allows me to just sit here and just and work and work and work and work, which is the one thing that I love to do. So I'm not saying do a psychedelic trip, but definitely definitely see if you can
Is an
separate your
affiliate offer
mind.
on a psychedelic trip.
Yeah. So separate your consciousness from your body and really ask yourself, do I really want to be picking up my phone right now, or do I want to be doing the work?
And I know you're a big fan of Dave Goggins. I'm a big fan of Dave Goggins too. It's like, I think he calls it callousing your mind. Like, you just have to fall in love with the boring work and you just have to be consistent and create habits. And obviously, it comes back, as cheesy and corny as it sounds, it comes back to your why. Like, I think people get into business because they think they want to be successful. But when you do that first week of outreach, when you do that first sales call and someone tells you, whatever it is, and you get that hard rejection, then you
Yeah.
find out pretty quickly how badly you want this, because you're either going to go one of two ways. You're going to get back on the horse and you're going to go even harder and you're going to go even faster, or the snowflakes out there are going to be broke. They're going to be broke by that first rejection or that first telling them to F off or whatever it is. So I think
Yep.
that's a really good point. But
Yeah,
for me,
you're gonna be bored, so get used to it, you know?
yeah, 100%. The boring work is what's going to move the needle. Like, every single day, the boring, consistent work, that's what's going to move the needle. But again, it's not like we're asking you to do this for 10 years. To me, doing 20 years of corporate slavery for a boss you hate, doing a job you hate with a 90-minute commute each way, like, oh my God, like, I'm taking the boring agency work that I can do on my own terms, in my own
Yeah.
space, in my own office. I'm taking that over the corporate slavery every day of the week.
Yep, me too.
So we actually haven't touched on it yet, but I guess you're doing the 5K retainer. What has been your best cash collected month to date?
It's been $17,000. I did a little bit of consulting work on top of it because I had 3 clients paying me 15K. So I did a little bit of consulting work and I got I think it was an extra. $1,000 per person. So I did two
That's
consulting
incredible.
jobs. Yep.
It's incredible. Like honestly, it just like it shows you you're 20 years of age, you've been in marketing, you've done the grunt work, you've done the hard work, you've learned the ropes, but like you're a year or two into your journey and you're earning that kind of money online. Like it's it really is incredible. Obviously, there's a caveat that it's not all profit, but I mean, like to earn that kind of money at your age, like it's nuts that there's a business model out there where we can, use it as a vehicle to earn that kind of money. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. It must feel pretty good to see that on the Stripe account once that came in.
Yeah. I think profit margins are like 85% right now or something like that. So I'm definitely doing pretty well. And my
Insane.
like I do my best not to tell clients my age.
Yeah.
Like if we're having just like a informal conversation. I do my best not to, but every once in a while, like I've got clients who are literally like my friends now. And they know me, they follow me on Instagram. So they're like, Jordan, were you out at the bars yesterday or something? I'm like, yeah.
100%.
So
That's what
there's
you
that.
want.
So people don't believe me when I tell them my age now. So it's kind of a
Yeah.
nice feeling.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what you want. You want clients who you relate to, who you see them as friends. Like you enjoy speaking to
And
them.
they're gonna
Like
stay with you for months and probably years, you know?
100%, 100%. That's what you want. Like you're going to get referrals. There is nothing worse than hopping on a call or a coaching call with a client who for lack of a better term, you don't really like.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse. Like you want to be working with people who you have a rapport with, who you literally are rooting for. You want them to win, they want you to win. You enjoy working with each other because there's going to be so much synergy there. Everybody wins. You're going to get so much better results.
That's why this hybrid funnel is really, really awesome too, because you're hopping on calls with warm people, people who already know you and trust you. So,
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But I think like I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, but I'll kind of, expand on it a little bit more. In terms of running your agency right now, what are your, I guess, favorite parts of your agency? And then for someone watching this, thinking, how I can replicate your results, what do you think is the best outreach method to land your first 3 to 5 clients?
so for the first question, my favorite part is that I know I can be off of I know I can take a few days off and it be fine. At one point, it was not like that. I had to work in my agency like 24/7 in order for things not to catch on fire. But I've hired the right people and I know that they can handle their job without me overbearing or looking over them. So
Yeah.
that was a huge thing, hiring the right people, and that took some time to learn too, hiring the right people because, some people are snakes and they're really, really good at hiding it. So building the right systems in place so I could take a couple days off. The best outreach method, I would say if you're first starting out, cold calling, because that you're gonna get humbled fast, very,
Yeah.
very fast. You're gonna be humbled. And it's not necessarily you're gonna sign your first client from cold calling, but it's a very good way to learn how to talk in a business sense. So if you're first starting out, definitely cold calling. And then if you're looking to make money, Instagram is the best place to make money right now. That's why I'm an Instagram coach and not a TikTok coach.
So yeah, I think for me, cold calling, I can see everybody watching this now being like, oh no, cold calling. But honestly, I can understand why you think that. But if you actually break cold calling down, and again, this goes back to the habits and kind of callousing your mind and learning to fall in love with something you mightn't necessarily enjoy. The pros of cold calling so significantly outweigh the cons. It's insane. In fact,
Yep.
the only real con is it's kind of grim and you're gonna get a lot of rejection. Like
Yep.
that's the only con. But I mean, you gotta choose your grim, you gotta choose your hard.
That goes
So
back to
like
callousing your mind.
yeah, you don't want to sit in a corporate cubicle with an asshole boss telling you where to go and what to do for the next 40 years. Or do you want to cold call for 3 months and then you never have to do it again? And you can run
Yep.
some paid ads or you can run the hybrid funnel and grow a business on your own terms, working half days, doing whatever you want. Choose your hard. And as I say, if you're willing to put in the grunt work for 3 to 6 months, that's literally all it takes. And again, I get asked this probably every single day what I would do if I was starting again. I would call gym owners in my local community. I would literally so I don't know how many gyms there are in Manchester. I'm maybe 100 or 200. I would call every single one of them. And then I would
Yeah.
call them in the next city, and then I would call them in the next city, and then call them in the next city. And I would sell them something they want over the phone. Like there's just no way you're not going to land 5 to 10 clients doing that. But
I
people
think,
just don't want to put in that work. They want the easy way.
yeah.
They want the quick win. They want the low hanging fruit. They want the get rich quick scheme. And unfortunately, that's just not the reality.
I think if I were to start out again, I would go in person
Yeah,
because if I was in this area, because this is the area that I grew up in, people know me. So if I were starting out again, I think I would go door to door, honestly, or business to business. Ask
yeah,
if the business owner is here so I can talk to them.
100%, 100%.
I've never heard anyone doing that. I know people do it, and I don't know what the rates are on that or anything, but I honestly don't think it matters because it's person to person, right? So,
Yeah, no, that
yeah,
person to person, it's going to build so much more rapport. It's going to build your people skills. Like you will improve your people skills cold calling, but that person to person contact, that's going to be so much better because you can charm them.
a handshake is over a cold call is impossible. Handshake goes a
100%.
long way in person. So,
Yeah, 100%. Plus, you got that natural sort of rapport of being from the local area. You know, they're going to give you a shot, I
yep.
guess. So, coming into Agency Accelerator, what would you say were your favorite aspects? You know, if you were to name 2 to 3 things, maybe like the community, the accountability, the course, whatever it is, what were your favorite things from the program?
Well, coming into the community, I kind of already knew a lot about the agency world. Like I was spending day in, day out researching researching stuff about the agency. So I knew a lot about how to run an agency and how to get clients and things like that. I just really needed to put in the work. So the course was not the biggest thing for me. I don't think I've even gone through the whole course to this day. So I coming in, I didn't really need the course. But what I gained was accountability from you, from Dylan, and also probably gained a lifelong friend, which is Jackson. We talk all the time, and he even came up to my lake house for a party that I had this summer. So it was, I think Jackson came in like a few months after me, and we just like had pretty much instant rapport. He was like someone that I would be friends with in person and in real life, and happened to work out pretty well too. He fit in great with me and my friends, so it was a lot of fun. But I think the biggest thing was probably the accountability.
Yeah,
Accountability.
100%. As I say, it's a lonely journey. And with courses, obviously, there's a ton of courses, probably like 10 courses in there right now. I've tried to build them out as much as possible, but at the end of the day, that is digital information. And like realistically, and I'm not afraid to say this, you can probably find the information on the internet. You can find it on YouTube, you can find it on
Yep.
Google, you can literally find it anywhere. There's so much information out there, and everybody trying to one up each other with the free information. What you can't find is accountability, coaching, mentorship, having someone there to bounce things off, ask things to, and that's been there and done it. Because if you don't have that, you're going to make all the mistakes. And if there's Jordan A and Jordan B, and Jordan A was in Agency Accelerator and had someone to bounce things off and had that accountability, he's going to be getting to his goals and KPIs 10 times quicker than Jordan B, who's trying everything
Yep.
himself on the outside, you know?
I think community is a huge part of entrepreneurship because, like you said, it's a lonely role. It's a lonely road. So if you have that community aspect where everybody kind of knows each other, so those when you had those coffee catch ups a couple months ago, or whenever they were, they were a lot of fun because we were just chatting about
I feel like it was me,
life
you, and
pretty much.
Jackson, like every every Friday, talking
Yeah,
about US states and locations we wanted to go to.
pretty much, and talking about the type of coffee we were drinking or something like that.
Yeah.
But that community aspect is really big because if I'm ever like if I'm ever having like a rough day of entrepreneurship, I'll call up Jackson or text him. He'd be like, "Get back to work, you bit."
Yeah, 100%. No, that's incredible. And I actually spoke to Jackson this week, and it's nuts. Like it's not how you can meet someone on the internet, like a complete stranger, and just have that rapport with them, on the same journey, building the same thing. So it's incredible, and it's great to see. So I guess we'll finish on, if someone watching this is on the fence about, starting an agency, joining Agency Accelerator, coming into the program, or maybe they've already started and they're struggling to get any progress on their first couple of clients, what advice would you give them, and what would kind of be, what would you say to them?
I would say just put your head down. As long as you have the right information, you're going to be golden, unless you don't have discipline. Or if you don't have that personal accountability for yourself, then you should probably join Agency Accelerator and get accountability from the community because we will hold you accountable as long as you're active with us. So I think joining Agency Accelerator for the accountability is going to be really, really big for you. And just put your head down and do the fucking work, man, because it's a lot more work than you probably think.
Love it. Love it. Next up, 50K. Next up, 50K.
Yep,
Well,
next up
pleasure talking
50K,
to you,
baby.
Jordan. Pleasure talking to you. Really, really appreciate this, man. And thanks again for hopping on. I hope you all really enjoyed that student interview. It was a ton of fun to film. If you're currently scaling your own agency and struggling to land your first 5 to 10 clients, I still have a few slots open in my one-to-one mentorship program for this month. Inside, I'm guaranteeing you your first 5 agency clients, and the results we've been getting have been absolutely insane. So if this sounds of interest to you, click on the link below this video and book in a call. I look forward to speaking to you.